Distinguished guests, principals and staff, ladies and gentlemen, and importantly, students from over 24 different schools across the region. Welcome to the 2024 Walk for Respect for Relationships ceremony. Good morning, everyone. My name is Will Burgess. I'm the proud captain of Woolooware High School, and this is Sophia Morgan, our vice captain. We are honoured to be members of the Woolooware High School leadership team for 2025.
We would like to start the proceedings by inviting the Mayor of the Sutherland Shire, Councillor Jack Boyd.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you to our wonderful MCs, Will and Sophia from Woolooware High School. I want to acknowledge that Darawal people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we're meeting today, and pay my respects to elders and their families, including emerging leaders and all Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who may be here today. I would also quickly like to acknowledge some of the special guests who are here today. New South Wales Opposition Leader and Member for Cronulla, Mark Speakman MP. The Member for Miranda, Eleni Patinos MP. Member for Heathcote, Marianne Stewart MP. New South Wales Police Inspector, Michael Stewart. My fellow councillors, council staff, members of the Walk for Respectful Relationships Committee and event partners, principals, staff and students, and of course, members of the community. Now, it's a very long welcome list, but I want to thank everybody for being here today in light of this incredibly important topic and in spite of the weather. This event has been running for many years now and under different titles. Council ourselves are proud to support the annual campaign to end domestic violence run by the United Nations Women, a global champion for gender equality. Now, this walk is so much more than just coming out and saying that we understand and acknowledge the issue. It's a commitment from each and every one of us to taking action, to changing the view that leads to some members of our society and a prevailing number, and sadly the statistics say an increasing number of people engaging in gendered or family violence. It is absolutely critical that we break this mindset, that we as a community come together, and more importantly to the boys that are here today or the men that are here today, that we step up and acknowledge that this is a gendered violence problem, but it is predominantly and almost exclusively men who engage in this. It is not to say it is 100% of the time, but it doesn't matter whether it was 70, 80 or 90 or 100% of the time. This is a men's issue that men need to step up and take action on. It starts with changing that mentality and respecting relationships from an early age, building that through acknowledging and knowing what the signs of violence may look like, whether that is coercive control up to physical violence. It's about acknowledging and taking action. When you see behaviour that may be leading into this, taking a stand and saying it is not acceptable, this is not a society that we want to live in, and it is not a society that we are willing to accept. Change won't happen unless people stand up and make that change. And by coming here today in the rain, you are saying you will be one of those people. You will see that change happen. You will drive that change yourself, whether that is through your schools, through your own family units, your sporting teams, or the community more broadly. Because change and real lasting change can't happen unless it is driven through the community. We need to stop disrespect before it escalates through to violence. And we also need to acknowledge the courage and effort that it takes to speak out on such an important issue. I want to commend Woolooware High School for organising the public speaking competition, which gave students a platform to share powerful ideas about respect and prevention. I recognise the finalists who are in this competition and the role that they themselves play in saying and putting their hand up to say, I will take action, I will be a part of that difference, and I'm really looking forward to hearing some of those speeches today. So to the students who are here in particular, and there are so many of you, I want to encourage you to be advocates for respectful relationships in your community, at your schools, among your friendship group, wherever you are. You should always be mindful of this, mindful of the impact, and hopefully through the speeches that we hear today, be able to contextualise and then apply some really good lessons about how you can be advocates yourself. I want to acknowledge the critical role that education and the engagement of young people in society plays in ending domestic violence. This isn't a goal of just reduction, it is about ending domestic violence. That is the target state we are working towards. It will not happen overnight and it will not happen without a lot of effort, but it starts with each and every one of us. So I want to thank everybody for attending and contributing to this meaningful cause. I really appreciate you all being here in the rain, and hopefully we'll be able to move through before the heavens open up even further. But thank you so much again for your attendance today.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your strength and your support for this event annually. It is such an honour to be standing here before you to recognise the significance of this event in our community. It is also incredible to see so many people here, from parents, family, community members, to primary and high school students and staff. This demonstrates the fact that we as a community are advocating for change that starts with us. We as a community need to acknowledge the fact that we all have the courage to call out, to speak out, and to help out.
I'd now like to invite to the stage the Honourable Mr. Mark Speakman to talk about the continual need to have the courage to call out, speak out, and help out.
Ladies and gentlemen, students, here on the traditional land of the Dharawal speaking people and right across the world, Monday marked the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Children. And that starts 16 days of activism to end gender-based violence. And there are marches like this, there are vigils, there are other ceremonies right across Australia, right across the world, marking this occasion. The walk here today, though, doesn't mention the words family violence or domestic violence or domestic abuse. It's a walk for respectful relationships, because all domestic and family violence has its roots in disrespect. The vast majority of disrespect will not... What am I doing? The vast majority... I'll just wait for that to stop. The vast majority of disrespect does not lead to violence, but all violence starts with disrespect. And that's why it's so important that everyone here today speak out and call out. No one here should live in fear. And if you're a student today that lives in fear for your own safety or the safety of a parent or someone with whom you live, please ring 1-800-RESPECT or the Kids Helpline on 1-800-55-100 if it's safe to do so. To end domestic and family violence in a generation, we have to have a culture of respect. And that will ultimately be a challenge for the students here today to have a generation where that sort of violence is eliminated. A generation where no one lives in fear, where people are listened to and they're not put down if they've got different views, where no one feels intimidated or bullied for who they are, where people can be who they are. The Mayor mentioned that the vast majority of domestic violence is perpetrated by men and boys. And when we say that, it's not to stigmatise men and boys. The vast majority of men and boys are not perpetrators. But we know that the vast majority of perpetrators are men and boys. So, men and boys, when you hear that today, we're not trying to stigmatise a gender. We're trying to embolden you to action, so that if you are a bystander to violence, you call it out, you speak out, and you lead to action. So, congratulations to the organising committee. Congratulations to Willoware High for the initiative day, and Ms. Benson sitting in the audience. just remember, at the end of the day, no violence is acceptable, no fear of violence is acceptable, no intimidation or bullying is acceptable. It's now in your hands as young men and women to lead the fight, to speak out, to call out and to look out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speakman, for your sustained support of this event. I'd now like to share a message from the Honourable Jodie Harrison, MP, Minister for Women, Minister for Seniors and Minister for Prevention of Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault in support of this event.
Pay my respect to their elders past and present and extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. It's a privilege to have this opportunity to address you today. If there is one thing...
Thank you, Ms. Harrison. I would now like to share messages from our Secretary of the Department of Education, Murat Dizdar, Secretaries Deb Summerhayes and Martin Graham, our Executive Director, Kay Ridges, and our Directors Educational Leadership who wish to add their message in support of this occasion.
Hi, I'm Deb Summerhayes, the Deputy Secretary of Public Schools New South Wales.
Thank you, Mr. Dizdar, Ms. Summerhayes, Mr. Graham, Ms. Regis, Ms. French, Ms. Hardwork, and Ms. Moore for your support.
Today, over 24 schools have joined the Walk for Respectful Relationships community. Throughout this ceremony, we'll play short messages from each of these principals and their leadership team who support this cause and wish to add their voices to this event. This walk is created by a team who work together to create an event each year that aligns with the 16 days of activism. Representatives from the Sutherland Shire Council, New South Wales Police, the Family Co and Caringbah Rotary all attend work together to achieve this event annually. I'd like to introduce a message from Inspector Michael Stewart from New South Wales Police who would like to add his team's endorsement of this cause.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about something very important: being kind, respectful and looking out for one another. In our families and friendships, we should all feel safe, cared for and valued. But sometimes people hurt each other with their words or actions. And this can happen even in families. When this happens, it's called domestic violence and it's something we all need to work together to stop. Respect and kindness are powerful. The ways you treat others, your family, your friends and classmates can make a big difference in their lives. By listening, helping and being thoughtful, you create a space where everyone feels supported and safe. If you ever feel worried about someone being hurt or if you feel unsafe yourself, it's very important to speak up. Talk to a trusted adult like your parent, teacher or family friend. The police are also here to help. If there's ever an emergency and you or someone else is in danger, you can call 000. This number connects you with the police, ambulance or fire brigade. And we will always respond to help keep you and your loved ones safe. At the New South Wales Police Force, we work hard every day to protect people and make our community a safer place. We do this by supporting those who have been harmed, helping families and holding people accountable when they hurt others. Now, creating a safe and respectful community starts with all of us, young and old. Choosing kindness and standing up for what's right. So please, just remember, always treat others with kindness and respect at home, at school and in your community. Never hurt anyone with your words or actions, and if you see someone else being hurt, speak up. If you feel unsafe or worried about someone, talk to an adult you trust, and feel comfortable to call OOO. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Inspector Michael Stewart, for your words today. Let's hear from a few more schools who support this work. Representative of the Walk for Respectful Relationships Committee to speak to the audience.
Thank you for your patience. I'm really sorry about the sound. I'll just remove this one. Okay, we got this. It turns out that on a rainy day, our community really does care, and I just wanted to say wholeheartedly, thank you so much for being here in a very drizzly kind of day. I have the honour and the privilege of speaking about the public speaking component of the Walk for Respectful Relationships. This is something that we initiated in 2023, to be fair. But in the second year of this new component, we've actually managed to add and strengthen student voice to this event, which is something we think is really important. It's not just important for the adults in this space, but I'm hoping that it's important for the students in the space as well. This year, in 2024, we saw 56 students across 28 schools, primary and secondary students, sit together and learn. We learned deeply about the issues that concern us about disrespect. We also learnt how to craft messages that might be impactful, because we understand that it's actually really difficult to listen to something so challenging. And on those 2 days in September, I wanted to say to the students that I've seen here today that represented their schools with such pride and passion, that their ambassadorship is something incredibly special. That in fact, while they were learning alongside us, we learnt so much from them. We learnt that they had a commitment to make a change in their community, and we see and honour that today. Today we have speeches that you may have already seen, films that were on the screen before the event. Please stay behind after to make sure that you catch all of those highly commended speakers, including one from Sophia, who's highly embarrassed about the fact that that made it to the screen. We have celebrated speeches of those students, and they're adding their voice to this cause. But we're also going to introduce the winners of the 2 divisions. We're inviting Vidya to be here and speak with us from Caringbah High School, and Scarlett, who's going to have her film shared with us as well. But I'm just asking that at the end of this event, despite the drizzle and the rain, could you stay behind and listen to the words delivered so powerfully by Jessup, by Sophia, by Brody, Miles, Piper and Beth. Their words really add to this event. Their messages are insightful, and they show us that this is something that we need to consider. The other thing, the byproduct of those 2 days, was what we really learnt on those days, that courage requires and is in fact contagious. If we see other people speaking up, we're more likely to do that ourselves. And in this day, on this day, what we can see 10 years on is that this ambassadorship is growing, and we will continue to make that happen. 10 years on, we have very proudly Daniela, who's going to speak, the student that originally voiced her concern to a principal at Woolooware High School, is now part of this committee, and we're trying to ensure that that ambassadorship continues, not just at Woolooware High School, but in all schools in the Sutherland Shire. We're particularly proud to lead this event. It's an honour and a privilege for us. but we want everyone to walk away knowing that this ambassadorship really means something. We choose to lead from a position of hope against the dark statistics and the fear that involves conversations around disrespect. And on this day, let's all have the courage to call out, to speak out, and to help out. I want to thank you for walking with us where every single voice counts and every step counts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Benson. I now have the honour of introducing the secondary competition winner, Vidya from Caringbah High School, to share a message with us today.
At 18, we were told to never go out alone at night because a man could attack us. At 16, we read the news about a woman beaten to death by her husband, and for the first time wondered if that could be us. At 13, we were given a phone, not because we asked, but just in case. At 10, we were banned from having sleepovers with our friend who had older brothers. After all, the risks were too high. And at 5, when we told someone that a boy tripped us over, we got told he was just playing and it didn't matter. Domestic violence is an issue that affects us all. It's a silent crisis that often hides behind closed doors, quiet voices, and shame. Yet its impacts echo loudly through our families, neighbourhoods, and society. I am 16, and even I know what is expected of me. I know not to go out alone at night, not to wear anything too revealing, and not to tempt fate. I don't. Not by choice, but because it's what I've been told. To stay silent, stay small, and stay safe. In Australia, one woman is killed every week at the hands of a partner, a statistic shocking many. Yet, what is even more startling than the number itself is our collective surprise. How can we be so shocked at this when we continually overlook every small action that leads to it? Boys will be boys. How many of us have normalized that phrase without even understanding what it truly means? It simply means that boys will disrespect us, and because we mature faster than them, we're expected to just put up with it. And we do. But what's the big deal about one small phrase? It's a big deal because it's the reason for 70% of domestic violence cases in Australia going unreported. Women have been conditioned to believe that their issues are not serious and that such behaviours is just part of how men are. But that's not true. We minimise this behaviour, making it more difficult for women to speak out and seek help when they need it. You're being too sensitive. Just ignore him. Did you do something he didn't like? These phrases that we so casually throw around reinforce the idea that disrespect is permissible. And when respect is not actively reinforced, impressionable individuals like young people ourselves are more likely to replicate these unhealthy patterns in our future relationships, perpetuating a cycle of abuse. Disrespect is not an inevitable part of life. We are better than this. Men are better than this. We need to stop lowering our standards and accepting disrespect. As parents, educators, students, legislators, as men, it's our responsibility to call out behaviours that foster disrespect and bring light to such a growing issue. Speak out to our family, friends, and community if we hear or experience disrespect, and help out. If someone you know confides in you about domestic violence, believe them. Offer your support, whether that means helping them find a safe space, connecting them with resources, or simply being there to listen. Not every small act of disrespect will always lead to violence, but every act of violence starts with this disrespect. We must break this cycle, because maybe next time, when a 5-year-old girl is believed, she won't be afraid to ask for help when she's older. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidya, for sharing your message with us.
The winner of the primary division of the public speaking competition was Scarlett from Gymea Bay Public School. Her message is clear and powerful. Please turn to the screen to see her message displayed. Some further schools wish to add their messages. I would now like to introduce the founding member of the Walk Committee to speak to the audience about this event, Daniela Lucci. 10 years ago, she had a conversation with her principal at Woolware High School, and this event has grown into a whole community experience. Please join me in welcoming Daniela to the stage.
On behalf of the organising committee, I would like to start by saying thank you. I'd like to thank our many distinguished guests for being here today, along with all of our guest speakers. I would like to thank all of the community members here who took time out of their morning to come and stand up for what they believe in for our communities. And I also, most importantly, want to thank all of our school communities for being here today, for making respectful relationships education a key part of our next generation's change. It's been 10 years since the walk has started, which is a bit of a sweet moment for me. On one hand, it's amazing to see how this whole event has changed and grown with more and more students involved and more people making respectful relationships a part of their lives. On the other hand, it's been 10 years since this conversation has started, and the message is still just as important. When this conversation started 10 years ago, I was quite fearful. I was fearful for what my future relationships could look like. I was fearful for what my friends and my family's future relationships could look like. But over that 10 years, and seeing how this community has grown, seeing how many young people are involved, that fear has turned into hope. It's seeing so many schools and young people involved, like you, that shape our communities, and I hope it will shape you to think about what your relationships will look like in the future. What do you want your relationships to look like in the future? What do you want your future relationships with your friends to look like? What do you want your future relationships with your family to look like? What do you want your future relationships with your partners to look like? These relationships are up to you. It's up to you to make the changes in your life that will limit the impact and the reality of gender-based violence in our communities. These changes come from calling out, speaking out, and helping out. When you speak, you will be heard. We will believe you. Know that support is available in your schools, your year advisors, teachers, your DPs, even your principal. When you speak, you will be heard. Know where you can go outside of school. Look around at the stalls behind you. Know the people, the support services we have here today, the DV committee, the youth committee, police. These services offer such a range of support. Not necessarily for today, but one day you may need to refer a friend, and one day you may need to refer yourself. They're here to support us, if and when it's needed. Thank you so much again for being here today, and I look forward very much to seeing you next year on the 19th of November when we walk again. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela. Thank you for your strength and courage in speaking up about such a challenging concept, and for being such a strong supporter to this event every year. Let's hear from our final few schools who support this work. These films of principals and their leadership team showcase how significant this message is in all our schools, and not just for today, but for every day.
On behalf of Zofia and myself and the entire Walk for Respectful Relationships Committee, we'd personally like to thank all schools and the members of the community who came to walk with us today. Thank you to our sponsors, the Sutherland Shire Council, Caringbah Rotary, Liquor Accord, Tradies Gymea, Tarrant Point Bowling, Cronulla RSL, Rainer Schoolwear and Viola, and Woolooware High School and the Family Co. Without your financial support, this would not be possible. Thank you to the committee organisers from the Sutherland Shire Council, the Sutherland Police Anti-Domestic Violence Unit, the Family Co, Woolooware High School and Caringbah Rotary for your active support of this cause. Thank you everyone for your presence here today. It is impactful and empowers us all and shows our community that there is a brighter future and we can make a difference. The steps each and every one of you are taking to prevent disrespect before this escalates in our community are valued.
Please stay to watch the film messages from our public speaking competitors, and remember to please take the opportunity to share your photos of this event with your friends and family under the hashtag #EveryStepCounts to continue this conversation beyond today. We thank you all once more for walking with us, and we hope to see you here on Wednesday 19th of November 2025. Thank you everyone for having the courage to call out, speak out and help you. Thank you.